All right, final score from Tallahassee on Monday night was 28-13 BC, and we've talked about it all offseason that these nationally televised early season games for Florida State have proven to be a nice showcase for the program's upsurge under Mike Norvell in recent years against LSU in particular. But they've taken it on the chin now twice with everybody watching. That's only compounded the issue. More people have been able to see it because there have been no other football games on. But man, I got to say, I'm going to give some credit to Bill O'Brien and Boston College first and foremost. So it happens with the other teams got to make the plays as well. But of course, we're here to talk Florida State. And a lot of people want to blame DJ Uiagalelei. A lot of people, of course, blaming Mike Norvell. I don't know that there's been too many times that I've seen a guy that's proven himself to be a capable receiver, Kyle Morlock, just look like he's trying to catch a football for the first time in his life. A lot of things. The defensive line that is supposed to be one of the best in the business, giving up 200 yards rushing roughly the first 2 games of the season. The blame can be shared all over the place.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I'd say DJU's pretty high up there on who's taking the most. Offensive line is up there. Linebacker's probably number 1 on the defense. But as far as the wide receivers, like you said, Morlock, he's been a dependable tight end when targeted. He hasn't been the best blocker, but he's been able to make them catches over the middle of the field. Lawrence Soafili in his career has been a dependable pass catcher on those routes out of the backfield. Drops. I think Chris said earlier we had 7 drops in the game. It was really, really hard to watch. But part of that, and this is another thing Chris mentioned on a video we recorded earlier, like how much of it is the ball that's coming to these guys? Because, like, yeah, Morlock's hit him in his hands. Toafili's was a little bit farther out, but it's coming 100 miles an hour as a wounded duck. It spins different. I think, you really underestimate how good of a ball and how easy Travis was making it. Jordan was making it on these guys. You miss him, it's not quite that great. And yeah, we're only 2 games into the season. When you see that over and over again, that's when the questions come about what do you do? When do you start playing for the future? You didn't bring, if you knew you were going to start 0-2, you would have never brought him in. You would have played the young guys. So, yeah.
I believe we had Chris on here for a split second. Oh, we had Chris on here for a split second. Now we've lost George, but we will continue on. We got Chris showing up. Chris, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. How's it going?
Excellent. Thanks for being here. Chris Frazier, Spearatics. That should be a go-to, everyone listening to us right now here at the Voice of College Football, just like the Renegade Report, Chris on Spearatics. Chris, we appreciate you stopping by. I know you're busy. We cherish the time we can get with you every time you can show up. So thanks for being here.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me. At 2024, I hope it's going better for everyone else because this has been one hellacious year for me so far.
So let's get to the heart of the matter. You guys, I would put you two and James in the same bucket from this standpoint. You guys bleed garnet and gold. You love Florida State as much or more than anybody I know. And I've got Florida State fans that are very close to me. My best friend's wife, she graduated from Florida State. A lot of her family, they love Florida State football. And other people that I know. But you three, obviously, you're professionals. You cover it, but you also are bleeding Florida State colors. I would consider you to, and don't take this the wrong way because this is a compliment. Of course, you're biased because you're just fans to the nth degree, but you do your best to, just like I do, to try to filter that out when you analyze the football, and you do a great job. So there are levels to this in that you can have issues with this football team. It's this team. We've got issues along the offensive line. The defensive front's not as good as we thought. Maybe the quarterback, versus deeper issues, cultural issues like We have lack of effort and focus issues. We have maybe a coach who's not as good as we thought he was. All those things. Chris, do you see any kind of trends that could point to these being deeper issues than just this isn't as good a football team as we expected them to be?
I think the guys that are starting right now, in the majority, and people aren't too happy with my take right now because I thought DJU was going to come play his best football at Florida State. I think that the team, and that maybe they should have gave more time and should have given a little bit more. I don't know, maybe less expectation, a little bit more time for chemistry to happen. But I do, in my opinion, believe that the team's given up on the guy that's in control. And that's not a hot take, or like some people will agree with me 100%, some people will disagree. I think that the guys that are starting and everything that I saw in practice, everything that James saw in practice, with Nick Saban saying what he said, I like, you don't say this looks like a top 5 personnel group in the country if they don't look like a top 5 personnel group in the country. In practice, I don't know why we can't take from what's going on in practice and put it into the lights, in Doak or in Ireland or wherever the football game's taking place, because practice, there's so much effort. Everybody's doing their job, everybody's doing what they're supposed to do, and sometimes the offense wins, sometimes the defense wins, but nobody looks lost. There's just not that issue. Is there a culture issue at Florida State? I'm going to go ahead and rim that in. No, it's just the wrong guys are out there in control. The wrong guy is out there in control, and they don't have faith in that specific person. And that's the issue that's going on. The team's letting you know, by the way, that it's all going down. We don't trust this. We don't see where the future in this is, or even for this season, because when you got 1-year rentals, you got to treat them like 1-year rentals. If they work out, great. If they don't, put their asses on the bench. So I think that the team would play a lot harder for the gentleman that's been here for 2 seasons, 2 off seasons, who has went through the majority of this. We threw him to the Wolves last year when injuries took place. We'll throw him to the Wolves now. He's got a year more experience. He's had college speed play come at him. It's time for you to look at the bigger picture at Florida State and quit looking at the now, this season. I would rather lose games competitively and a guy learning. I'd rather go 5-7 with Brock Glenn than I would go 7-6 with DJU, because the future of this program is here. We did it with Mackenzie Milton with Jordan Travis. I want people to realize that this same scenario has happened before. We brought a more experienced quarterback in Mackenzie Milton to help Jordan, and Jordan ended up being the guy. That's what made Jordan the guy. That's when you knew this is the guy that's going to lead your team, and he's going to be here more than next year. He's not here for 1 year and gone the next. So you have to do the same thing with Brock. Show him the respect of his abilities. Show him the respect of his leadership capabilities, because I'm going to say this. When Portier caught the touchdown pass and made the 2 juke moves to get into the end zone, I didn't see the guy that threw him the football celebrating with him. I saw Brock Glenn run all the way from the sideline to the end zone to celebrate with his wide receiver. There is a respect to this game. If I don't respect the man that is throwing me that football, but I respect the man that's coming up the sideline that should be throwing me the football, then so be it. Pull one and give me the other, because that's who we trust and that's who we're going to play our ass off for. Coach, I believe the players have spoke loud and clear. It's time to do exactly what they're asking you for, because right now 0-2 ain't it, and he knows it. That's not our standard. Let's move forward.
And regardless of who was responsible for the wins at the end of the year, Brock Glenn was on the field for a big win, so the players can relate to him being the leader on the field for that game. And again, for as much as the offense may have struggled in that game, he was still the guy that was getting it done.
Look, we aren't, sorry to jump, but we aren't seeing DJU like, he's not doing, we don't need him to do these things that takes 5 years to learn at the quarterback position. Like, it's very basic, dumbed down stuff. If Brock can just go in there and execute, make 3 or 4 different passes, like, not, have his touch be so out of whack that it's 110 mile-an-hour fastball from 10 feet away. Like, so yeah, I just got, really fired up thinking about, like, definitely, and thinking about 2021 and how they did things. At the very minimum, give him a half. Give him the first half of that Memphis game, and let's see what Brock can do. Like, you'll never know. And really, players do raise everybody up around them. The offensive line, the running backs, those guys who have it, like he was talking about with their teammates. They do it. Jordan Travis did it. James Winston did it. All the good quarterbacks you ever had, they do it. And for whatever reason, not enough time. He didn't do it at Clemson. He didn't do it at Oregon State. We thought that, Mike was able to get his deficiencies, get his best things out of him. It hasn't happened. But yeah, you don't go till you're 0-4, you're 0-5, 0-6, like Chris was saying earlier as well. Like, just give Brock a chance. I want to get a look at him. You give Brock a half and give Luke a quarter, whatever the case may be. Let's just get some experience. Whatever experience they get this year isn't going to kill them. We're not throwing them out there against Alabama first game. Memphis is a good time to do it, and we can move on to the defense and stuff. But yeah, big stuff.